If you're not getting any responses, leads, sales, or just any results from your cold email, it's probably one of these problems we're going to go over. I'll be addressing which one I see most frequently, as well as how to fix it and some ideas for your next campaign so you can get unstuck. I'm Michael Gardiner. I've been doing cold email for almost a decade, and today I'm hoping I can fix your cold email problems. Let's get into it. Alright, so here in my document, we are going to go ahead and zoom in. Now let's go over potential problems with cold email. So there are quite a few potential problems, but the main ones I see are first, product market fit. This is just going to be in general, do people want what you're selling, or does the subset of a market you're reaching out to actually want what you're selling? If you are selling something that isn't in demand with the best copy, best deliverability, best everything, it simply does not matter. So if you have no clients, you can't say it's a cold email problem necessarily because you don't have previous data. Now, if you have previous clients, or especially if you have previous clients you've gotten from cold email or cold calls or LinkedIn outbound, some type of outbound marketing or even ads, then we know it's probably not going to be this. But this is a very common problem, especially among beginners or people testing out new offers. Second, we have is deliverability. Are your emails actually making it to the primary inbox? If your emails aren't making it to the primary inbox, it doesn't really matter what you do, even if you have a great offer and messaging and all that, because you're in spam. So if you are getting under a 1% or 1.5% response rate, you're probably in spam. If you're not getting any responses at all, even negative, you are definitely in spam. So you can't really judge these other things if that is the case. The next is lead quality. Are the leads any good? If your lead list is completely inaccurate and there's a super high bounce rate, again, none of this will matter. We need to isolate variables to know what's working or not working, so we need to make sure we don't have issues of product market fit, lead quality, or deliverability. Next is copy. You can have the best offer in the world, but if your copy sucks, too bad. So if you don't know how to write copy, go ahead and check out my video I did on copy. I'll have that linked in the description, or if not, it'll be on the channel. But finally, and this one is one I see the most, when I see people with good deliverability, good leads, good enough copy, and product market fit, is they lack segmentation and related tangibility. So that is what we're going to be breaking down in this video. So first off, what do I mean by segmentation? Segmentation is how you have specifically segmented or taken a portion of your list of people that have similar attributes. You know, if this could be based on an industry or a title or on a software someone's using, if someone is or isn't running ads, even personal attributes like where they're from or what interests they have. Essentially having a very specific part of a market that you could have your messaging resonate heavily to, as opposed to going broad. And related tangibility is within your service, how does it relate to those people? How does it help them? Is it just too broad where it just maybe applies to some people, only 5% of your list? So that is what I mean by this. So now I want to go through and give an example of a bad call to action or offer going to a good call to action and offer. So let's go ahead and look at that example. So starting off, this is what I see a lot. I help businesses. This is way too broad. It doesn't explain anything. There's nothing tangible. There is almost no way, unless you do extreme volume and get lucky if a crappy business saying, tell me more, that you'll get any interest. And this is not just cold email. This will apply to any other form of outbound or marketing. Think about it. You know, you don't buy shoes, you buy running shoes, right? But it's just way too broad. Then next we have I help businesses with marketing. It's still way too broad, but we slightly more specific. It's with marketing, okay. Then a step down, I help e-commerce business brands with marketing. This is where I normally see people. You know, I do see people here sometimes, but this is normally where I see people. You know, it's kind of specific, but it's just not enough. Now, another consideration is, does somebody who has an e-commerce brand consider himself an e-commerce brand owner? No, like that's the term we use as marketers. They consider themselves in the fashion industry or the cosmetics industry. So it's specific in marketing lingo, but not really in owner lingo. And also the service is just way too generic. And like in the specific example of e-commerce, we're also considering market sophistication. Like your average e-com brand owner, like they know what Facebook ads are and TikTok ads are and UGC and all these other things. So would marketing be specific enough for someone who's in an unsophisticated industry when it comes to marketing? Maybe, but definitely not in this case. Now, moving down here, we have I help fashion brands with marketing. Now, this is more specific and it can work, but it's still very competitive and the service is just too general. So then we have I help women's accessory brands with marketing. Now, this is perfect. Women's accessory brands. That is very specific. That is great. Now that's still gonna give you thousands of contacts, but it's not too small that like you run out of contacts in a day. Also, if you're reaching out to women's accessory brands, what case study should you use? Women's accessory brands case study, because it's going to resonate way more. They don't necessarily care if you have a case study with a roofer, or even if you have a case study of like a men's hiking boots company. You may see it as fashion and apparel, but they don't. They're into women's accessory business, someone else is in outdoors business. So I help women's accessory brands with marketing. Targeting's on point, but the service still not there. So next, let's go ahead and be more specific. I help women's accessory brands with Facebook ads. That is better, but let's add tangibility. What are they going to see? I help women's accessory brands double their Facebook ad revenue. Now we have tangibility. Now let's go ahead and add in a time frame. So let's add in time frame. I help women's accessory brands double their Facebook ad revenue in 90 days. Now let's add in a mechanism that's still generic considering market sophistication of an e-commerce brand owner. I help women's accessory brands double their Facebook ad revenue within 90 days by leveraging content from micro-influencers. And boom, we now have something that's very specific and segmented, and we have a mechanism that is very tangible. This is how you do well in cold email. Now, if we were developing this into a whole script, our case studies would be in the women's fashion space, and we'd obviously make sure those case studies include examples of micro-influencers. But look at if we go from the top to the bottom. I help businesses to I help women's accessory brands double their Facebook ad revenue in 90 days by leveraging content from micro-influencers. And by no means am I giving you an offer here. I have made this up, but I just want to show you how much more specific that is. You have to think, if I'm the person receiving this, how do I view myself? How sophisticated I am? How much do I understand what's being offered? And how different are you? Because if I get reached out and the case study and messaging is exactly to me, I am much more likely to resonate with that and be interested than some broad generic messaging. And that is why this works, and people don't do it. So let's get into a few more examples of segmentation to help you out with that. Okay, so some other examples of segmentation. First, we have type of business. This is e-commerce versus home service versus software, info product, consulting, etc. Well, at least we have the type of business, so our messaging, case studies, call to action, they can all match. Now, ideally, we do type of business plus niche. This is like, for example, women's accessories, or maybe if it's a consulting business like fitness consulting. So type of business plus niche is normally where I stay if I'm just segmenting by business type. But I'm gonna give a couple more examples here, but there's hundreds of these you could use. One could be a software company is using. If you sell Salesforce consulting, well, naturally having a segmented list of companies using Salesforce would just make sense. Or if you want to target people that have a high ad spend, targeting people that are using Hyros or Triple Whale, or if you're a software company, you can make a list of people using your competitor's product and have your messaging be specific to how you're better than them either on product or on pricing. So that's another example. It could also be a marketing channel. Your messaging could be, hey, I see you're using Google ads, but you're not using Facebook ads. Or I see you're using this ad platform, doesn't work, use this ad platform. We're just trying to segment it so our messaging is relevant and different than everybody else. You can even do this to titles within a company. I've worked with companies where their product has completely different benefits to a CIO compared to a CMO compared to a CFO. The CFO cares about cost saving, the CIO cares about security, and the CMO cares about how fast they can implement it for marketing. So we also want to make sure our messaging is relevant to the actual titles we're going after. So I hope this video has helped out. Maybe if you're struggling with your cold email campaigns, this has given you a few new ideas. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Now, if you do want to work more with myself and my team to develop your outbound prospecting systems, make sure to check out growb2b.io. There is a link in the description to book a call and talk to my team. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.